It took me 1 year to finish this Santa coat, and that's okay. I started this project a year ago when I made these Krampus horns, thinking I would make a beautiful Santa coat to go with them as part of the costume. And I decided 2 weeks was enough time to give myself to finish this project. I used a costume coat pattern that I bought to use for projects. Then I bought some red wool fabric from our local Lens Mills store, along with some faux fur. I'm not gonna lie, I'd spent about $100 Canadian at this point. That's a big investment, and I was ready to get this project started. At the time, 2 weeks seemed like a reasonable amount of time, but 2 weeks to finish something I had never done before at Christmas time was overly ambitious, and unfortunately I didn't realize that until I was still sewing the coat together on New Year's Eve at my parents' house. But then it was January, and at that point in time, a Santa coat seemed pretty irrelevant. So after weeks of cutting pattern pieces, cutting fabric, piecing it together, Googling how to do certain steps, and accidentally sewing through my thumb, oops, and enlisting my husband to carve antler buttons. After all of that, I put the project on hold. I thought at the time that perhaps I would finish it for the following Christmas, being this year, right now. Or at some points during the year, I thought maybe I just would never finish it at all. So the coat hung unfinished on my dress form for months. My YouTube journey became blurred due to some work changes, some personal struggles, and family health concerns. It wasn't until Halloween of this year that I finally revisited the coat, but not to finish it. I actually wore it out for Halloween. It was cold, so I popped the coat over my costume to wear out while we took the kids trick-or-treating. And weirdly, it was at this moment, as random children were yelling at me from across the street what they wanted for Christmas, that I decided that I should definitely finish this coat. I had a change of heart on my abandoned project right before I was supposed to start NaNoWrite month. And then things kind of went to poop for a little while. We're not really going to talk about that. We're just going to ignore that whole month, except to maybe reminisce on people that we love and care about, and making sure we spend time with them while we have them with us. And even though I had a change of heart on this abandoned project, a whole other month would pass and being distracted by 2 other projects before I would finally revisit the coat. Why am I telling you this? Because I want you to understand that life and your crafting adventures don't happen overnight. They take time, patience, mistakes, and sometimes a little bit of your own blood, and that's okay. And even as I wrote this script, I had yet to sew on the toggles. There, that's better. To this day, this coat remains in my eyes unfinished. I would have loved to line the coat. However, the costume pattern that I used didn't include instructions on lining the coat, so it wasn't even something that occurred to me I should be doing until well after the fact. And so now if I want to line it, which maybe I will one day and maybe I won't, I will have to figure out how to add a lining to a garment that's already sewn together. And yes, there are tutorials because I have looked them up. So if you're wondering that yourself, you can totally do it, apparently. This project began as a coat for a Krampus costume. And to be honest, I had fully intended to make it bloody or gory in some way, to Krampus it up, so to speak. Which, let me tell you, is not something your family understands after you've made, in their eyes, what is a beautiful Santa coat, that you're gonna now destroy it by adding blood and guts to it. Fake blood and guts. Now, I personally really don't want to do that, only because I've spent so many hours putting this coat together that to me to add any sort of weathering to this would make me really sad. So instead of a Krampus coat, or maybe a Krampus coat, just not with blood and guts all over it, now this coat has become something that I might actually wear to a special event, or maybe out next Halloween, because if nothing else, it made a lot of kids really happy to scream at me what I wanted for Christmas from across the street. But this coat is not finished by any means. At some point, you need to decide whether done is better than finish. And in this case, I'm going to take done for now. Whether you're new to crafting or not, remember that projects take time. They are never perfect. Not everyone will love what you've made or understand why you made it. And sometimes you have to spend more time Googling how to do something than actually doing that thing. And that's okay. Crafting is a process. And we make because we also enjoy the journey, not just the destination. Even if sometimes the destination looks pretty darn good. This December, I'd like to wish you and your family a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. My name is Pam. This is Total Pamarchy, the craft channel with a little anarchy. Until the new year, 2024. Cheers. Am I walking funny?